Welcome to Making It Last, where we share ideas to help families tackle major issues. I'm your host, Regina DeMeo, and with me today is Melissa Brault, and we're going to talk about foreclosures. Thank you so much for being here, Melissa.
My pleasure.
So it's so sad that we have to talk about this, but it's a big issue in Montgomery County and really across the country. So can you help people to understand what is the difference between a foreclosure or a short sale, deed in lieu of foreclosure? These are all terms that you and I are familiar with, but I don't think everybody is.
Absolutely. So when we have a homeowner, okay, who is unable to make their mortgage payments for whatever hardship reason, okay, a short sale is when you're working with the bank, okay, to sell your home at fair market value or very close to fair market value. Okay, so that is an alternative to foreclosure. Okay, you're getting a contract. It's an arm's length transaction with a buyer in the open market for fair market value.
But it's less than what you owe the bank.
Yes. A short sale, by definition, is just when you go to closing as the seller, you're short paying back the bank. That's what a short sale is.
Okay.
And having an attorney, we negotiate with the bank as to what is going to be done with the deficiency, the balance, the shortfall that's hitting the bank, and trying to stave off foreclosure to give the homeowner time to get a contract and to have the short sale approved, have the bank review the short sale package, and get to closing.
Okay.
Ultimately get to closing. A foreclosure, there are either no times or very few times when a foreclosure is in your best interest. A foreclosure means you're simply walking away. And the bank is going to, at some point, set a foreclosure sale date, and your home is going to be sold at auction. If nobody purchases the home at auction, the bank is going to have to buy it back. And unfortunately, under a foreclosure situation, okay, the bank had a secured interest against you, they foreclosed on your home, you still owe them all the money. And so they can garnish your wages, they can go into your bank accounts, they can attach a lien to another property that you own to try to recoup as much of the loss, because at an auction they're going to get pennies for the dollar.
Right.
Or they have to buy the home back, and which means that they have now not gotten any money for the home. A deed in lieu is a deed in lieu of foreclosure. You're actually giving the bank the deed to your home back to them.
Okay. That seems like the easiest.
Unfortunately, it shows up on your credit as a foreclosure.
Oh.
Okay, and the other problem with the deed in lieu of foreclosure is you need to make sure that whatever you're getting from the bank is in writing so they cannot come after you for the deficiency. In a short sale, okay, you're going to have a short sale approval letter. If you have one mortgage, it's going to be one letter. If it's two mortgages, it's going to be two letters. And the terms are going to be set forth very explicitly as to whether or not the bank is forgiving the deficiency, or if the bank is, you're entering in a promissory note for the deficiency. And so it's much more specific. And it's only on your credit 3 years.
A short sale.
So it's a much smaller hit to your credit.
Wow.
And when you are looking to purchase another home and you're filling out a credit application, you know, I just did one a couple of months ago, okay, and one of the questions is, did you ever do a foreclosure? Did you ever do a deed in lieu? They don't ask you if you ever did a short sale.
Interesting.
Okay, so it's because you're really, you're doing the best that you can possibly do. If you can't bring the entire shortfall to closing, you're at least getting the bank fair market value for the property. So you're getting the bank is going to recoup as much as they possibly can in this market.
That makes sense. So does the bank decide which one you're going to fall under, or does the homeowner
decides?
Okay.
And sometimes by not deciding, you limit your options. Okay, you need to decide, I want to short sale my property. Okay, I don't want to let it go to foreclosure.
Right.
Okay, right away, as soon as you stop making payments, you're going to start getting letters constantly from the bank. And they're meant to be scary.
Right.
You're in risk of default. You're in risk of foreclosure. We're filing an intent to foreclose on you. Okay? The bank, there's lots of steps that the bank has, a myriad of steps that the bank has to go through before they can actually foreclose on you. So you have plenty of time to, seek an attorney, to get representation, because once you stop making payments, you're in default.
Right.
You're in breach of contract. And I understand from the hundreds of people that I see that there are, just so many situations where people simply cannot pay. So it's not a matter of, putting the blame. It's just a matter of, you're in breach of contract. You're going to get sued. You need an attorney to protect your interest, to let you know what is your best course of action. And you need a realtor to list your property.
Right.
So it's a triangle. as an attorney, I work with the seller. He's my client. I protect his best interests.
Right.
And I also work with the realtor.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, the property has to be marketed. Marketing history has to be kept. Every so often, the property doesn't sell right away. They have to lower the price every few weeks by 5 to 10%. We need that documented.
Okay.
Okay. And then once we get a contract, once the realtor gets a contract, okay, the seller has to get a lot of documents together, okay, his financials together, okay.
Like not just income for the current year, but you're saying past tax returns?
Past 2 years' tax returns.
Okay.
Okay. If they have not filed their tax returns, they've probably filed an extension. We need the extension.
Okay.
Okay. Past 60 days bank statements, all accounts, all bank accounts. One of the biggest questions that people ask is, what about my 401k? Okay. Please don't take out any money from your 401k. Okay. Your 401k is protected.
Right.
Okay. Now, I mean, there are instances where, and I'm happy for people who have $500,000 in their retirement. Is the bank looking at that? Obviously, yes. There are human beings looking at it and seeing, wow, he has $500,000.
Right.
That definitely is less of a hardship than somebody who has no money in retirement. But it's not money that they're expected to take out in the short sale.
Right,
So
and if you took it out, you'd have penalties, taxes.
Exactly.
It's not the $500,000 by the time you take all that
I
out.
had a couple come in last week, and he said it was either here or divorce, because the wife said, I want to do the right thing. I want to keep paying my mortgage. You need to take out all your retirement money. And he said, that's where I draw the line.
Right.
That's what, the woman was ill, lost her job because she was so ill with cancer. And he said,
oh, wow.
We need this retirement money. I may need this for medical bills.
Right.
I'm not taking out my retirement. And I said to him, thank God you did it. You did the right thing. We're going to short sale your property. We're going to get it listed. We're going to short sale your property. If you are working, we need last 30 days pay stubs.
Okay.
If you are self-employed, we need a profit and loss statement. Some people, they have accountants and they run very complex businesses and they have very detailed profit and loss statements.
Right.
That's great. But then we have mom and pop shops, and they get very overwhelmed at even the thought of having to write a profit loss.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. Okay? Your income that's coming in every month, I have several, women who are, they clean houses. So it's just the checks that are coming in from the people that are cleaning houses.
Okay.
Subtracting the expenses. What does it cost you to get to where you're working and the cleaning supplies?
Right.
Okay? The net is your income. Nice and simple. And everything that's handed over to me, I review before it goes to the bank. And then a hardship letter.
Okay. So what's a hardship letter?
Okay? It's important. It's your story. And, the banks might not be the most sympathetic entity out there.
Right.
But the bottom line is 9 times out of 10, an individual is going to read your hardship letter. If you've been ill, that has to go in your hardship letter. And sometimes it's actually cathartic for people to have to write this hardship letter and get out what they're going through. A bad divorce. They've been left with nothing. They can't, a lot of times together they were making just enough money.
Right.
To pay the mortgage. Separate, they can't.
Oh, yeah.
That's a hardship situation. Even though if they still combine their resources, they'd have enough to pay the mortgage. That's not going to be their situation anymore. And, a lot of times the divorces are the most difficult ones. There's a lot of emotion involved. They put a lot of love into their home. They have children. And a lot of times one of them who's been through so much emotionally just says, I'm walking away.
Right.
What I tell people is, if you want to close this chapter and move on, you need to short sale your house. Because if you foreclose, it's going to follow you.
Right.
And it's very hard to make a clean break when you still owe all this money to the banks.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I mean, I've also had clients who, one party stops paying, and so they go into foreclosure, and it impacts the other spouse's security clearance. I mean, people don't realize that your security clearance is actually tied to your credit and your ability to make payments.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
That's such a good point, because we never tell somebody not to make their mortgage payment. Okay? Not making a payment doesn't mean you're automatically in a hardship. And making your payment doesn't mean you're not in a hardship. I have people that come see me and they're making their payments, but they're not paying anything else. They're borrowing money for food. That's going to come out when I see their bank statements, when I see the bank is going to see that they can't pay their mortgage, even though they are. We have people that are borrowing money every month to pay their mortgage from their father, their mother.
Credit card.
Exactly. Okay. Unfortunately, the banks are your mortgage service provider, okay? They're kind of the conduit, okay? The investor holds your mortgage, and the investor makes the final decision as to whether or not to approve a short sale. And a lot of times it's a private investor, but we also have Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. With Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, you have to be in default to have a short sale approved. And this is a real burden for people.
Oh, so that's why I've heard rumors, you need to stop paying the mortgage before they'll even talk to you.
And I tell people, I can't tell you to not pay your mortgage. However, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not going to not going to approve your short sale unless you're in default. Huh. This creates an incredible hardship on people who have security clearance.
Right.
Okay. They just passed. Now, it's not a law, it's a guideline, but it's going to be implemented November 1st, 2012. I mean, this is huge. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will be reviewing short sales. You do not have to be in default. Starting November 1st.
Okay, that's great.
And because it's a balancing act with people that have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, where they don't want to go into default right away when the house is listed. Because what if it takes 6 months to get an offer?
Right.
The foreclosure timeline continues as soon as you stop paying your mortgage, even if you're trying to short sale your property. Okay? So what I always tell people is, it's like a balancing act. When it looks like we're starting to get interest in your home, you may have to think about whether or not you're going to get ready to do a short sale, which means for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, you're going to have to stop paying your mortgage. What if the buyer then walks? You're now in default, you're facing foreclosure because you really had to.
Right.
So then now do you start paying? Do you get current again? And then the timeline starts all over to get in default. So I'm thrilled to hear that starting November 1st in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, you don't have to be in default.
No, that's great news.
And I have to say the great majority of people, this is kind of a non-issue because they have no money to pay their mortgage. So they're in default.
Right.
Most of the people that we see, they're not having a conversation with me, should I stop paying? I'm facing foreclosure.
Okay.
But there is a small percentage of people in the divorce situation, in relocation situation.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And you can have a relocation situation, and they have security clearance, and in order to move for their job, they have to go into default, and then they might lose their...
Right.
It's
like a catch-22.
It really is.
Yeah.
So we're thrilled about the new guidelines coming out.
That's great. We're going to take a little short break, if that's okay?
Sure.
And then we'll be right back.
I'm home, and I love it. I'm home, where I belong.
It's always nice to come home, but many Americans are at risk of foreclosure and losing their homes. Making home affordable from the U.S. government has already helped over 1 million struggling homeowners like these. The sooner you act, the better chance we can help you.
I'm home, where I belong.
Welcome back to Making It Last. I'm your host, Regina DeMeo, and with me today is Melissa Brault, and we've been talking about short sales and foreclosures, and this is really fascinating. Thanks for being here, Melissa.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm happy to get the information out.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I am overwhelmed just hearing about all these different things that have to happen. So if you had to advise somebody when they should call and get help, when would you say they should do that?
Let me give you a little bit about my background, what I do every day.
Yeah.
Okay, I started out after law school in litigation, and I did court work, trial work for about a decade. And then when I had children, I worked from home doing appellate work.
Right.
And fortuitously happened upon Joe Michaels, okay, who owned a title company, and then was seeing in the title company business so many short sales,
right,
and then decided to open up a law firm to have attorneys represent homeowners facing foreclosure, to stave off foreclosure, avoid foreclosure, and short sale their home.
Okay.
Okay, so the law offices of Joe Michaels, I think we're 5 or 6 attorneys, okay? I should know the exact number, but I don't, okay? And we represent the client. We represent the homeowner. Okay, who is in default, facing default, needs to move for relocation, divorce situation, hardship. Okay, and we represent the homeowner if the foreclosure proceedings have already began. Okay, how to avoid foreclosure, And I can tell you right now, there's lots of scams out there that you see flyers, bulletin boards as I'm driving on I-95.
Yeah, I get stuff in the mail all the time.
Nobody can guarantee that you're not going to go into foreclosure.
Right.
Okay? When you're not paying your mortgage, there's no law that says the bank can't foreclose on you.
Right.
Okay? There are guidelines and directives from the federal government. That's what we're working with. That's what we have.
Right.
Okay? So, typically, okay, we get clients in two different ways. Okay? First, the homeowner hears about us typically because one of their neighbors went through a short sale. Okay? And they call us and they say, I'm in default. I can't make another payment. What do I do? And they come and they meet us. Okay? I always waive a consult fee. Okay? In my experience, if you're going to do a short sale, after meeting with me, meeting someone in our office, you're going to retain us.
Right.
Okay? It's worth it. We charge $1,500 is our retainer.
Oh, so it's a flat fee.
It's a flat fee of $1,500.
Okay.
And it's a retainer for our billable hours for the entire process, whether the process takes 3 months or 2 years. Okay? The entire process.
Have you
And it's
had
not
some that take 2 years?
We have.
Oh, wow.
And every situation is different. So, but I just closed 2 yesterday at the title company, Michael's Title and Escrow, 2 dear clients that I first worked with in 2010, in the fall of 2010. One of them was had an investment property.
Okay.
And he was approved twice, but both times the bank was requiring a huge promissory note because it was an investment property and the bank was taking a huge loss. You know, he got in the property for about $120,000. He was selling it for $30,000.
Oh my God.
Okay, and so the bank wanted him to get a promissory note, take out a promissory note, and he said, I can't do it. They wanted a cash contribution. I can't do it.
Right.
There is a particular short sale program out there called the HAFA short sale program.
Okay.
Okay, and under HAFA, okay, your deficiency is forgiven if you are approved under HAFA. So you have one lien with your mortgage company, okay, and they approve you under HAFA, and you are forgiven the deficiency. And if you are living in the property, you are given $3,000 to relocate. It's relocation money.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, how do you qualify for HAFA? That's like too good to be true.
Well, and what's amazing is, and the reason why I just brought it up is that the HAFA qualifications have changed.
Okay.
Okay. First, your mortgage with your first lien, it can't be more than $799. Okay. So most people don't have a home over $800,000, so that they'll qualify there. One of the requirements used to be it had to be your primary residence.
Makes sense.
Okay. So the gentleman I was just talking about, it was his investment property, so he didn't qualify under HAFA. In June of 2012, that requirement was removed. So it no longer has to be your primary residence.
Okay.
Now, you're not going to get $3,000 relocation money.
Right, because you don't need to
if you're not living in if you're not living in the property. He was fine with that.
Right.
Because what ended up happening, though, is the first lien completely forgave the deficiency, so he no longer had to enter into a huge promissory note. The other situation with him was he had a second lien. Now, okay, so he had a second mortgage on his property. Now, in a HAFA setting, you know, both of these mortgage service providers have to work together. The first lien is always going to give the second lien some money.
Oh.
Okay, they always are. They're going to give them, it's typically 6%. Okay. Now, in a regular short sale, okay, that might be enough money just to release the lien. But the second mortgage company is going to want additional money after closing.
Okay.
Okay. With a HAFA short sale, the second mortgage has to agree to take whatever the first lien gives, and the amount has gone up to $8,500 as of June 2012, and they must forgive the rest.
Wow.
So this gentleman, who 2 years ago when he came to me didn't qualify under HAFA, his first lien wanted a huge promissory note.
Right.
His second lien said, okay, we'll take what the first lien's giving us, but we are going to call you afterwards because we want all the rest of the money. Yesterday he closed. First lien, full forgiveness. Second lien got $8,500 and forgave the rest.
Wow.
He was able to close that chapter of his life. You know, he purchased the property, you know, many years ago.
Right.
A single man. Now he's, you know, married, children, and that property was no longer his primary residence, and he was able to close that chapter of his life and move on.
That's amazing.
So sometimes, yes, it takes 2 years,
Right.
but as he told me yesterday, it was worth the journey to be forgiven the deficiency.
I mean, because the alternative is to let them do the promissory note or the foreclosure, and then they're going after him for the balance, and he has to file for bankruptcy.
Absolutely.
And who wants to deal with bankruptcy?
Right. And I have to say, if you don't qualify, for whatever reason, if you don't qualify under HAFA, okay, it is still much better to do a short sale than a foreclosure.
Right.
Okay, let's go over that situation we just had. And let's say that he still didn't qualify under HAFA. So
Right.
we had to do a traditional short sale. Okay, the first lien wanted a promissory note. Okay?
Right.
A promissory note, no interest. And we can negotiate the terms out to 10 years. So for a lot of people, it is doable.
Right. I mean,
Okay?
depending on the amount.
It's much more doable than a foreclosure where they can come after you, they can garnish your bank accounts, garnish your wages, okay? With a promissory note, it's an unsecured debt.
Right.
So if for whatever reason in the future, your hardship gets worse and you can't pay the promissory note, this is now an unsecured creditor, okay? They can't automatically go into your bank account.
Right. It's not like it's
Garnish
tied
your
to the
wages.
car. We're going to take your car
Exactly.
back.
They
Right.
would have to sue you.
Right.
Okay. What that means is that you have also some leverage. Let's say you're doing better and you don't want this promissory note for the next 10 years on your credit, just making the payment.
Right.
Okay. You can call your mortgage service provider, okay, and say, I'll offer you 10%. Let's do a debt settlement. I'll offer 20%. And a lot of times they will agree. Now, I have to say, with a first lien, okay, I can count on one hand and maybe just even on one finger how many times a first lien has come after a homeowner after a short sale. They're getting most
Okay.
of the money in a short sale. Okay, and they don't have the time or the resources to go after all of these homeowners afterwards. It's
Right.
the second mortgage that you have to worry about.
I see.
It is the HELOC, the home equity line of credit that you took out for $100,000 on your property when
Right.
at the height of the market when you had all this equity in your property.
Right.
Now it's underwater, and in a short sale, the first lien is going to give the second lien a couple $1,000s. Okay, even $10,000, but 10%, you're still going to owe 90%. Okay, that's where your attorney, okay, needs to really negotiate with the second lien. See, what if the borrower gave another 10% at closing cash contribution? Is that hard for the homeowner? Yes.
Right.
But complete forgiveness of the rest.
Right.
Entering into a promissory note where now it's a no-interest promissory note for all of or part of the deficiency, as opposed to the high interest rate on the HELOC that you had.
Right.
And again, with the second lien, if they approve the short sale, even if they're just releasing the lien, afterwards, they're an unsecured creditor. In a foreclosure, okay, you had secured creditors that foreclosed on you.
Right.
And now they're going into your bank accounts. And the worst call I get is people that either have a foreclosure sale tomorrow
Oh,
or
God.
have already been foreclosed on.
Right.
They're unemployed, and whatever little money they have, they're raising their children, and all of a sudden they woke up and they found out all of their checks bounced because the bank went into their bank account and took
Right.
their money. And they don't get noticed. It's not like somebody calls you up and lets you know we're going to take your money tomorrow. And so all of a sudden they wake up and there's no money in their account.
Oh, my God.
And then they're forced to either file bankruptcy, move in with family. That's just a nightmare that can be avoided. It can be avoided.
So it sounds like your tip is as soon as you start to see this hardship situation creeping up, they should call an attorney.
They should call an attorney. Exactly. And I have people that call me that they're thinking about moving for their job. They're not even in the hardship situation yet. They want to know what their options are. Call us,
Right.
At our law offices, we take calls like that all the time. We are there to help clients figure out what is their best option. And again, as I said, if you come see me for an hour, a consultation, and you decide, what, I think I can keep the home, I'm not charging you.
Right.
Because you need that money to use for someone else. Or you walk in and you realize I also have $100,000 of bankruptcy debts.
Right.
Okay, put that money towards paying for your bankruptcy attorney. Okay, if you're going to go with a short sale, you're going to retain us. The retainer is non-replenishable. So once we use the money, the $1,500 with our billable hours, we do not ask for more money from the homeowner. So it's not a bottomless pit that they're paying us.
Right.
And I have to say, a lot of us do take pro bono. Okay, we know if a homeowner is able to pay any retainer,
Right.
half the, because we see all their
Maybe the
financials.
finances, yeah.
Exactly. I'll never forget the woman who came in to see me with her checkbook to pay the $1,500 retainer, and I had her tax returns for 2011, and she had made $8,000 in 2011.
Oh, wow.
She had borrowed the money to pay my retainer.
Right.
I said, no, that's like more than 10% of your whole income.
Right.
I'm taking your case pro bono. At closing, we get 1% of the sale price, and the banks pay for that. And if they don't pay for it on the HUD one, we typically don't go and ask the homeowner for that money. It's a case by case, but typically we don't, because the banks usually pay for it.
Right.
And so there's so many other options out there.
No, it sounds like, I mean, I was a little afraid to start this segment because, you know, we just did one about weddings, which is nice and
Right,
upbeat,
yeah.
right? And this is like, oh, okay, we're going to have to talk about some really serious issues today. But it sounds like, you know, it doesn't have to be such a disaster.
No.
It sounds like there's a lot of hope.
There is, and if I have
Yeah.
time for one thing, what I want to say is, I mean, if I can just stress, the most important thing is to have an attorney.
Yeah.
Okay, you're facing foreclosure. The one right that every homeowner has before foreclosure is the right to mediation. They cannot set a sale date until
wow.
you are given the right to mediation. That is a right you have to opt into. You'll get a final loss mitigation packet, foreclosure papers, and in there is the right to mediation. You need to check the box and send it in. I'm almost positive you have 25 days. So many people don't know. They have a
Right.
realtor negotiating their short sale.
Right.
Is the realtor going to go to mediation for them in front of the administrative hearing judge? The bank is going to have an attorney present.
Right.
Okay, they can't set a sale date until we mediate. A lot of times, even though it's non-binding mediation, the bank will make agreements with us not
Right.
to set a sale date for 6 months,
Right.
to get their market value of the home, called a BPO. Okay, so
Okay.
the bank has to go to the property to determine how much they think it's worth, so that they know if the offer that we have is enough.
It's valid, right.
Okay, a lot of times that takes too long, and the foreclosure timeline is ticking.
Yeah.
So to have the bank agree to, okay, we'll have somebody come out to the property within 30 days. We'll have it to the investor within 60. And if we don't, we won't set a sale date.
Right.
That goes in writing. The attorney signs it. I sign it as the attorney for the homeowner. The administrative hearing judge now has that on file. That is now binding.
Awesome.
So there's so many ways that homeowners can close this chapter and not have it on their back for the rest of their lives. And that's what we're trying to avoid. That's what we're trying to avoid.
That's great. If someone wanted to contact you, how could they reach you?
Our phone number is 240-425-0008. We're the law offices at Joe Michael's, 2 blocks from the courthouse in Rockville, Maryland. And on the web, it's www.joemichaelslaw.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Making It Last.